Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video are going to be my top 10 favorites of the year so far. I did cheat a little bit and included series all as one, but I will tell you what my favorite book in that series probably was, but I did cheat a little bit by including the entire series. If you've been watching all my videos this year, probably none of them are going to be a surprise because I've talked about all of these a lot, but without further ado, let's just hop into the video. Okay, so the first book is actually might be a surprise because I haven't talked about this one too much except for in my wrap up, but I honestly loved it so much and it was a kind of a surprise love to me because I just wasn't expecting it. It's a historical fiction and it's the nature of fragile things. I don't know what it was about this book, but I ate it up. I listened to it on audio and I think I listened to it in a day. I just loved the whole thing. I think the part of it is that I had never read any books in like the historical setting that it took place in. It takes place in San Francisco when there's a big earthquake that caused a lot of damage and it scared a lot of people, so caused a lot of like fires and stuff to go on because like gas lines were breaking, I think, and stuff like that. It was in 1906. But so I think that I just have never read any books in like that historical setting. Most of the time it's either like World War II or I don't know, like it's just I've never read anything in that historical setting. But it was also, the audiobook was very well done. There's a big found family aspect to this book story, which I love. There's also kind of a bit of a mystery in it. And I don't know, the whole thing just really worked for me, even though I haven't read a lot of historical fiction books that I've been loving lately. I've just mostly obviously gravitated towards romance, and it's also because it's not a romance and I mostly talk about romance on this channel. I feel like I haven't talked about this one a lot, but I did really like it. So it's gonna sit at my 10th. Okay, and at number 9, this may be a surprise, may not be, but it's Heartless Sky by Carolyn Peckham and Suzanne Valenti. This is the 7th book in the Zodiac Academy series. Honestly, most of my reading from Zodiac Academy happened at last year, so they were in my top 10 at the end of 2022 reading list, but I did read this one at the beginning of 2023 and I loved it. I was broken and destroyed by the ending of this book, and I don't know how people waited an entire year for the 8th book to come out, because if I didn't have the 8th book after this, I probably would have just like rioted and thrown all of the books in the garbage. I don't know. No, I wouldn't have done that because I really like the series. These books are just addicting. They're a lot of fun. I like the prequel series better than this, the Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac. I think that's what the series is called. But these still are so much fun. And honestly, like, this book is huge, but it doesn't feel like it. Like, that is the craziest part to me, is that all of these books are like, they're getting to be like, I think the 8th one was like 800 pages long, but it, like, I flew through it because I just liked it so much and I just love all of the characters. They write really well, like, lovable characters even though they start out really not lovable. We can't help but love them, you know? Anyways, if you read the series, you know what I'm talking about, but I love this. I'm really excited for the next book. I think actually the 8.5 book just came out in July, so I'm gonna need to pick that up. The next book is The Love Match, and this book really surprised me as well. I think I listened to this audio, I think, in a day as well, maybe 2 days. It is a YA romance, but it's got a love triangle, and I just love love triangles. I know that's a very unpopular opinion, but I eat them up. I love the angst, I love the tension, and even though this is YA, it still had all of those things, but made it, I think, really digestible. It was also just like an interesting coming of age story to me. The female main character like went through a lot of character development, and I don't read a ton of YA anymore, but like I just really liked this one. I feel like it just doesn't get the hype it deserves, or like even people talking about it enough. So I put this as my number 8. If you've seen many of my recommendation videos in the past, you've heard me talk about this one, so I won't talk about it too much, but this one's really good, and it's like a very quick read because it's YA, love triangle, angst. Okay, and the next one is Twice in a Blue Moon by Christina Lauren. I had to have a Christina Lauren book on this. They're probably one of my favorite authors, like, ever, but this one is one of their backlist one. I'm slowly making my way through their backlist, and because I've been doing that, I haven't actually gotten to a lot of their newer stuff. But this is one of my favorite Christina Lauren books that I've read. It is a second chance romance, which I have come to the conclusion that second chance romances really are my shit. Like, I really dig them. I don't know. I think it's the like angst and the tension and the fact that like usually somebody has to grovel or make amends of some sort. I just really like that aspect of this. This one is like sort of a past and present timeline. You get to like their past, and like it is a miscommunication, but it's not. So I understand people's like gripe about this book, but for me, it really worked. Again, I listened to this on audio in like a day because I just loved it. I know the characters did feel very young, but I don't know. I don't know how to talk about this one without spoiling things because there's so much that gets unraveled throughout this book. Like, there's family dynamics in this book that have like on both sides that are addressed, as well as the romance. So it's just good, okay? Just trust me, this one's good. Okay, and number 6 is Beard Signs by Penny Reed. I just recently talked about this in another book recommendation video, so I'm not going to go into it too much. But basically, this follows Cletus and Jennifer, and Cletus is just such a good book boyfriend. He just wants Jennifer to be herself and to fully just like do her own thing. He just wants her, the best for her the whole time, and also he wants the best for everyone. Like, he's in the previous 2 books in the series just like supporting his brothers and their significant others just the whole time. He's just like there. He's like the backbone of the family. He's the voice of reason, but he's also like kind of a dick a lot of times, but in the most lovable way. But I don't know, like, I think this book, Cletus made this book for me, so, and also like Jennifer, but it was Cletus, so. Okay, next is The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. I loved this one. This one was just such a perfect rom-com to me. It had so many funny aspects. It had beautiful writing. It, like, so many of the lines in this I just wanted to highlight the crap out of because I loved it so much. And there's actually a quote at the beginning that I just thought was so funny and made me so mad as well. Like, if someone said this line to me that her ex-boyfriend says at the beginning, I would probably punch them in the face. I could not help myself, and I'm very not a violent person. It's just like, it's just so well done. I love the fact that she is the bodyguard in this scenario. It's just a really good take on the bodyguard trope. Catherine Center had another book that came out in July that I immediately am going to, it's on like top of my TBR because I just loved her writing. I need to read her backlist. Like, the writing style in this book just was so well written. I couldn't help myself, but also the story is just a lot of fun and the romance is really good. So, okay, and the next series that I'm going to talk to you about is On Devlin Street series. And I feel like I've talked about this series so much, and I did a whole deep dive of it when I was talking about some of the books that I've been obsessed with lately. So again, I just don't want to talk about these books too much because I feel like I talk about them so often all the time. So I just want to give you my top 10 without really getting into depth about each one because I have so many other videos about it. But I loved this series. This is a fully just like really great found family, as well as all really good romance. Some of them are super messy. I feel like there's something for everyone in each of these books. Some of them I didn't like as much because they were just like a little too messy for me, but you might absolutely love them. And some of them, like the ones that I loved the most, are where the hero is like super protective over the female main character and just like will not let anyone talk badly about them. So I think Down London Road was my favorite of the series. It was the second book, but this entire series It's just so good. It's really the found family aspect of these books that really drew me in, but they're also just really addicting and fast paced, and I feel like you can fly through them even though they're older books. Like I think they were written like, I want to say like 2016, 2018, something like that. So they're a bit older, but I feel like they still hold up. So these are sitting at number 4. Okay, and next is Juniper Hill by Daphne Perry. I loved this one. I feel like I was not expecting to love this one as much because I did really like Indigo Ridge, but it was definitely not my favorite book I've ever read, but I do really like the romantic suspense elements in both of these books. But I feel like people hype these books up so much that I was like, I did really like the first one, but it didn't sell me on the series. This one sold me on the series. Knox and Memphis have such like a beautiful love story. The like single parent part of this book was really, really well done. I loved the way that Knox took care of Memphis and her daughter. It was so cute. Oh, and the ending of this, the romantic suspense book, like I could not put this down. I was like literally like, oh my god, what is happening? I need to, like, I could not stop because I just was like freaking out because I needed to figure out what was happening at the end there. So good. And I'm really excited to read the rest of the series. Maybe by the end of the year, all of the series will be on here, but the second one is the one that is actually the only one I've read this year so far, and it's definitely my favorite of the two. Okay, and the next series on here sitting at spot number 2 is the Chestnut Spring series by Elsie Silver. I'm not gonna talk about these for too much because I did an entire reading vlog on them. I've talked about them in multiple videos since then because I'm just in love with them. But I do want to mention that if you like these covers, they are getting discontinued. So go on Amazon and order them right away so that you can still get them. I loved these so much that I immediately went on Amazon and ordered them because I love the story. I would have picked it up when it got re-released as like a traditionally published book if I didn't read them beforehand, because I loved them so much. I loved them so much that I immediately needed to own the physical copies of all of these books, and that doesn't happen too often to me anymore. But I just knew that I wanted these, and they are just really pretty because they've got like artwork in them as well. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about these for too long because I talked about them in so many other books, but I loved every single one of them. Every single one of them except for the first one is a at minimum rounded up 5-star. But if I do have to pick a favorite, Heartless is still my favorite, with Reckless as a very, 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 very close second. Okay, and the last one is definitely not going to be a surprise to anyone, but it's Happy Place by Emily Henry. I love Emily Henry. I've loved every single book that she's written except for People Who Meet on Vacation. That one was really good to me, but not a love compared to the other ones. This one, I just related to the female main character in this book almost too much. I felt like I was really like just the overthinking, the people pleaser aspects of her personality just really resonated with me. I felt really, really seen when I was reading this book, so it just like really has a special place in my heart. And I 100% understand why someone would not like this book, or wouldn't like, at minimum, wouldn't like the ending of this book. But for me, I don't know, I'm willing to overlook some things because I loved the rest of it so much. And to me, this book is almost perfection. I still think Beach Read beats it, and I wasn't including rereads in this list, or else Beach Read would be in this list as well. But I love Happy Place. I'm excited to reread it. I'm excited. I want to listen to the audio, I think, on my reread, because I really like her audiobooks as well. But Emily Henry can do no wrong in my eyes. So this is my number 1 book that I've read so far this year. Okay, and those are my top 10 books that I've read so far this year. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave me in the comments one of your favorite books, or many of your favorite books if you can't narrow it down to just one. And subscribe if you're not already. Give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.